this with people in different countries doing the same class together. And so I think that that'll really spark good conversation and discussion. While we're waiting, Amber or Sammy, do you have any questions about just leaving or things that are on your mind?
Nope, I'm just finishing up packing, so I'm just ready to go, I guess.
Yeah. Amber, what about you?
I'm still trying to get everything together. I just got home from school like a day ago, so it's been a bit of a whirlwind. But yeah, I haven't had any major issues, but the bulk of my packing is going to be tonight and tomorrow, so that's probably when any questions that I haven't thought of yet will arise.
Well, Kathleen's there right now, and she spent the day going out to all your placements and, you know, tightening the bolts before you get there. So we have the whole orientation schedule ready for you guys, and it's pretty exciting. So let's start. This will be a shorter class. I just wanted to review the syllabus with you guys. Sorry that I sent it to you late last night. I'd hoped to send it to you earlier in the week. Just wanted to go through it and talk about what we're going to do together and what I hope you'll get out of the class. And the way this is structured is that there will be 3 class sessions for this internship course. And we're going to do 2 of them by Google Hangout when you're already in country. And you guys will be a week ahead of the Tajikistan folks. And so the number of different discussions that we'll have, you'll be a little bit further along in your experience than they are, but I still think that it'll be really worthwhile to have that cross-pollination together. Do you all have the syllabus in front of you?
Yeah.
Good. And so the idea here is that this class is going to dovetail hand in glove with your internship placements. That the primary activities of the class are going to be going to your internship and performing at a high level in your internship. But what this class is going to do for you, and I'm really happy that you've decided to take it, is that it's going to fill in a little bit more of a contextual aspect to what it is that you're doing from a citizen diplomacy perspective and an international development perspective. But those are the 2 major themes of the course. And the class sessions and the discussion papers that you'll write in advance of the class sessions are really an opportunity to explore those 2 themes to a deeper level than what you guys are going to do in your reflection sessions on a weekly basis. That your reflection sessions are going to be much more about your personal experiences and consulting with each other about, you know, what you can do at a professional level to have a greater impact and to take advantage of the experience to its utmost. And these class sessions are going to put you more in the field of being a practitioner, where you're thinking about the larger issues behind that you're doing on a daily basis. And to be honest, I don't know how valuable the class would be without the first-hand experiences that you're going to bring to it. Like I'm a full advocate for studying international development and citizen diplomacy, but the reason why this class works is because you're doing it at the same time and we're talking about it. That's one part of the class. The second part of the class is that we together have the goal of tremendously improving your writing skills. And there's 3 different kinds of writing that we're going to do in this class, and my goal is that you will produce things in this class that you're then able to use, that you can cite on your resume, and that you can use as professional writing samples for when you're looking for jobs. That we're going to do things that you wouldn't do in a traditional undergraduate class. So there's 3 kinds of writing that we're going to do. The first is more reflective of personal introspection, and those are our discussion papers that are a response to the readings and that integrate what it is that you're experiencing on a day-to-day basis in your placement. And those are going to be in response to the readings, and you guys will submit them at least 3 days before class, and I'll take a look at them, and then I'm also going to circulate them amongst the whole group so that you will be able to share that, and you'll each have that going into the class that you can speak with each other with a little bit. Our discussion will be a little bit more fruitful because you guys have already shared insights with each other. So that's the first kind of writing in terms of personal analysis. And so the discussion questions that I sent you, I absolutely don't want for you to summarize the readings. Like, I would rather, these are meant to just be one-page responses, and it should be what your analysis is of the questions and what you're thinking about it and why. And so from a summary perspective, you guys will all have read them. I'll have read them a lot of times at this point, so I don't need a recap of what it says, but I want to know what you think and why you think it, and I want to see how you express that. The second kind of writing is the blog post that you're going to be doing, which is for a public audience. And so one of the things that I've seen previous students have a difficult time with in terms of writing these different kinds of blog posts is the inclination to put yourself at the center of the blog post and to assume that your audience knows you, knows what you're doing, and cares about you in a personal way. And so that's a different kind of writing. That's things that you're going to share with your family and your friends, and that can be different kinds of blog posts that you do. But for this class, we're going to work on writing blog posts that are more like reporting and giving people a voice, or taking an issue and analyzing it, and not having you yourself, Rafi, Sammy, Amber, as the center of the post, but rather you're presenting something to the general public, whether it's about Morocco, whether it's about Tajikistan, whether it is about the difficulties of teaching English to a population that doesn't speak English because it's their fourth language, but that it's something that someone down the street here in Washington, D.C. could conceivably pick up and read, and it doesn't matter whether they know you personally or not, whether they're going to be interested in this. And so it's a writing for a different kind of public audience, which we're going to work on together. And then the third kind of writing that we're going to do with this is the writing for a professional audience. And have any of the three of you written a professional memo before?
Yes.
What kind of memo did you do, Amber?
I worked in the State House in Boston my whole sophomore year, so I wrote a lot of memos about like the research that I was doing and different bills that my office was working on.
Very good. That's a great example. Rafi, Sammy, what about the two of you?
I've written like policy memos before, like policy analysis. Like I had to do one on, like I took a public policy class, and so I guess that kind of counts, but not like an official like memo about like a particular topic, I suppose. So.
Okay, so this is going to be an opportunity for Rafi and Sammy for you guys to do this maybe for the first time, or to build on a little bit of previous experience. And Amber, this will be a chance for you to create another writing sample that you can use, and also hopefully we can help you take your writing to another level from where it is right now. I'm sure that it's in a good place, but it's one of these things like building muscles that we can always get stronger, we can always improve upon. So I used to work at the State Department several years ago, and inside a government, everything is accomplished by memos, whether they're decision memos, whether they're information memos, and you take the most complicated subjects, and at most you're writing a 2-page memo on it. And so, frequently undergraduate students, graduate students are given these writing assignments that are 30, 50-page papers, and that has a place in the academic world. But even if you're writing a 30 or 50 or 100-page report for a government, for an international organization, you're not going to write that whole report. You're going to write sections of that report that are so tight and so concise, and they are either exactly analysis of what it is that you need, or it's basically just the facts. And you're kicking it over to another person higher up on the professional food chain, because this is everything that person needs to know in order to make a decision on something. And so we're going to do that kind of writing. That's going to be part of your final project, is to write a professional styled memo in that way. And it's also, just skipping ahead in terms of what that memo is going to be about, that's going to be the ultimate chance for you to reflect on one of the 2 key questions of the course, in terms of what was the impact of your service and the work that your organization had you doing and its effectiveness, or what was the impact of your efforts as a citizen diplomat, and how could that have been improved in some way, or what was it that made it the most effective. And so what I'm really, really interested in with this course is that kind of analysis. So in terms of using your writing skills to get to that analysis, and just to be, that much better of a critical thinker coming out of this. And along those lines, I don't want you to take any of the comments I send you back on your work personally, because what I do is I read these things really closely, and I try my best to give really constructive feedback, but I'm going to give you guys the real thing in terms of what the feedback is on your writing, and where I think that you can make it stronger, and what it is I think you're doing really strong, to a really strong level or high level already. And I treat this as if you guys are my professional colleagues, and you're sending me something, and then we're going to send it out to the public together. And so just please don't take that the wrong way. It doesn't come, when you send me things and it comes back with lots of track changes and comments, it's because I put the care into wanting to help you make it better. It's not because I want to rewrite your stuff for you, or change your voice or anything like that. But I would feel as if I'm doing a disservice if I'm just saying, oh, that's good, and pass it on. Any thoughts on that before we actually get into the syllabus and talk about it for a minute? No? Okay. All right, so looking at the syllabus, we already talked about the first page in a very general way. Looking at page 2, you see what the requirements are. All of you have been registered with the College of New Jersey to get the 4 credits for this class. I'm going to submit your grades to the College of New Jersey at the end of the class, and then they will send you a transcript with your 4 credits that you can present to your registrar at Boston College and at McDaniel. If there's special things at McDaniel or Boston College that have to happen with receiving that transfer credit, let's talk about that now and get working on that now to make sure that we fulfill all those requirements early on in our process, rather than completing the course and then running into a form that we had to fill out a few months ago. So Amber and Sammy, I'm going to leave it to you to tell me if there's additional things that we have to do with that. Okay, so then going down the list here, everything for the course is going to be due by July 27th, which in almost all your cases gives you ample time to finish things up after you come back from being in Morocco or being in Tajikistan. Sammy, if you get to the end of your time in Morocco and you feel as if you would really benefit from a little bit more time to finish the stuff off when you get home, that's not a problem. Let's just be in touch about that. You see that we're going to do learning objectives in the first week that you guys are in country, and so we'll get to that a little bit later in the syllabus. Expectation is that you're going to go to your internship every day and do your best in your internship, apply yourselves, be ready to go, and all the rest of that. Like, obviously, if you're feeling sick, then you're in touch with Saleh and your supervisor, and you let them know that you're not going to be able to come that day. But expect full participation in the internship, and you guys will do timesheets on a weekly basis and you'll submit them that you did your service. The course readings. I'm actually going to email you all the course readings, so you don't have to buy books for the course. I recommend it. I think that these are worthwhile reads, but I also leave it to you that I don't want you to have to carry books with you to Morocco or Tajikistan. And if you like what you read in the chapters that we give you, then you can buy the books when you get back and read the whole book rather than just some of the chapters. So I will actually email you all the readings later today, and you can read them on your laptops. You can print them out, whatever it is that you want to do with it. So we've got 2 one-page single-space thought papers, and I sent you guys the discussion questions for those already. For the first set of readings, I specifically want for you to read the Sachs article first, or the Sachs chapter first, and then to read the Easterly chapter afterwards. If you read them the other way, then it's like finding out that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father at the beginning of the movie. It won't be any fun. The blog posts, so those follow the guidelines in your manual, and I'm gonna, like I said, we're gonna put a little bit more attention into the blog posts that you guys write as part of the course. My goal, we did for the folks who did the course last summer, they all got published in external outlets that we worked on their writing together, and then we helped them submit to external places. I can send you some links to some of the blog posts from last year that were published in other places. It's wonderful for us to publish it on our blog. We're going to cross-publish anything that's published somewhere else on our blog, so it gets it out to our audience. But anytime we can publish first in another outlet, it's just great for our mission because we're reaching a whole other group of people. So, like the rest of the group, you guys will have 3 blog posts that you do. We'll probably have a little bit more back and forth on the blog posts before we publish them, though, as opposed to other parts of the group. Any questions on that, about the blog posts?
So it's still the same 3 blog posts that we're required to do just generally for the program?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the same. Yeah. Sorry, 1 second. Everything good?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Okay. I just got my laptop fixed. Very happy. Okay, so it's the same 3 blog posts. You don't have double the amount of blog posts. Very important. We want you just sitting in front of your computer all summer. So the memos, we talked about that a little bit, and we can get into the detail on that, and that's part of your final project. And then the last thing there on that list that we haven't talked about is the photo essay, which I love the photo essay. The photo essay is just a great chance to really produce something that, in addition to the blog post, it's like for that public audience where you can really tell a story about one of these themes and bring the experiences of your internship to life for another audience. And one of the things that we always want to do is we want to have some kind of expo at the end with the photo essays. And so the 5 of you are going to take this class at the beginning of the summer, and then we have, I think, another 5 or 6 students who are going to take it in Indonesia and Zanzibar at the end of the summer. And so my hope is that we're going to take the photo essays that you all put together, and we can package them together into some kind of short ebook, or produce something that we put on our website that is like a sort of virtual symposium of the work that you've done. So one of the keys with doing a good photo essay is beginning to think about this from the very beginning and to be thinking about it as you're doing your readings and not to leave it until the last week when you're in country and you have to run around trying to find different photos that are going to speak to what your theme is and what you want to do. So let's talk about learning goals for a minute. We can skip over this first part about, because we've talked about what Unofficial Ambassadors is about. You guys have had your introductory webinar. You guys know what our goals are writ large for the initiative. Can you guys just take a quick minute at the top of page 3 and skim what the framework is for this course and the following learning goals? So if you look a little bit further down on that page, we've got some information here on how to write strong learning objectives. Would one of you guys mind reading that out loud? It might be worthwhile to read out loud. Starting with the student should submit.
Yeah, I can do that. Okay.
Thank you.
The student should submit his or her learning objectives to instructors no later than the end of the first placement. Each learning objective must be specific, measurable, limited to a single definite result, and have a completion date within the time period of the internship. Students will use the following guidelines when developing the learning objectives. Avoid broad and general objectives, make them specific and as measurable as possible. The objectives should be realistic considering the time constraint. How will I accomplish this objective? Be specific. What knowledge? Be specific. Do I want to acquire during this internship? What do I want to understand at the conclusion of this experience? What new skills do I want to master as a result of the internship?
Great. We can stop there. Thanks, Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
So I love doing this where you start off with bad examples and then you figure out how to make them into good examples. So here's some bad examples of learning objectives. I want to work on PowerPoint presentations. I want to answer questions about various programs offered, et cetera, et cetera. I want to become an organizational specialist. Without turning the page, Amber, how can we make this first one, I want to work on PowerPoint presentations, a stronger learning objective based upon what Sammy just read to us?
I would say at least probably having like a specific topic in mind or something that you want to like use your presentation to, like, why are you making the presentation? What are you hoping to do with it? So having more of a purpose.
Yeah. So let's make an example.
Like, say, for example, if you wanted to make a PowerPoint presentation to show to whatever your audience is when you get home about a specific aspect of your experience, like maybe how, like one of the things I want to talk about with my audience when I get back is how practicing Islam like affects daily life practically in Morocco. So that's something I might want to like make a PowerPoint presentation about specifically.
Good. So you're adding the specific content, and you're adding a purpose to why you want to do the PowerPoint presentation, why you want them to be good, and what you want to achieve with it. Good. Rafi, what about you? How could you take it another step further?
So maybe your targeted audience should be stated.
Mm-hmm.
So it just said I want to work on PowerPoint presentations. You could add maybe a specific group of people to make it more specific, and also you can also talk about how you're going to make the PowerPoint presentation. So is it going to be focused on what aspects of life is it going to be focused on? Is it going to have more pictures or more words, more cultural, more educational? Yeah.
Yeah, that's another great piece to add in. Um, the third piece that I would add in as well is like the buy statement. Not just I want to work on power presentations, but like what's the frequency or what's the measure in terms of you working on them. So I want to work on power presentations by creating, 3 presentations over the course of my internship so that I can produce a compelling presentation about how Muslims observe Ramadan in Morocco for my student group at Boston College. And so it's like you're diagramming it all out in terms of how are you going to measure your effectiveness, who is it for, what's your ultimate aim, what's the skill that you're building. Now, you guys have all already done your individual work plans, and so as a part of those individual work plans, we've already come up with a number of objectives for you, both personal and professional objectives that you want to achieve in Morocco. And so what I would like to see you guys do is incorporate some of those. Like, what's the point of having those objectives if they're just on a piece of paper, off on their own silo somewhere? I'm not saying take those objectives and make it 100% these objectives, because I think that those objectives need to be improved to make them learning objectives, not just life objectives. But I'd like to see that you incorporate some of that into the learning objectives for the course. If you turn the page there, and you can see a number of different examples there. I think actually the third one, Amber, was really similar to what you began speaking about in your example. But you just see how these are constructed where, as Rafi was saying, that you have the target audience, you have the frequency, you have a measurement, and then you have like this ultimate outcome in terms of what it's going to do for you. Like, if you look at the second one, I want to develop my teaching skills by preparing and teaching daily English conversation classes to a group of high school students. Like that, I mean, like that's pretty applicable, I think, to anyone in this program who wants to be a teacher. I think what could be added to that somewhere in that objective is a point of measurement where you talk about how the high school students are benefiting as well. So that you want to improve your teaching skills by teaching the daily English conversation classes to a group of high school students so that they improve their English language skills to a level where they are comfortable speaking to a native speaker. There's probably other details in all of these that you could add in, and the goal is not to get to like a 5-line sentence that just runs on forever, but I think these are pretty good examples in general of learning objectives. So I think it's hard to know what your learning objectives are going to be right now at this point before you even arrive in country. And what I'd ask then is that at the end of your first week of being in your placement, that you submit your learning objectives so that you begin thinking about them. They cut across our 4 different themes of having an impact, dispelling stereotypes, bringing the experience home, and staying safe, and that you begin thinking about it, but then at the end of your first, you guys are going to have your first days of work on a Thursday and Friday. So really by like the Wednesday of the following week, that if you send the learning objectives in, and then we can see if we need any sort of revision, but then you still have them for the bulk of the time that you're there, that you're thinking about. Any questions on that? No. Okay. So moving along, I think full participation in your internship is self-explanatory. Have a sample timesheet that I can send you guys if you want to use timesheet for a weekly basis. If you want to make up your own timesheet, that's totally fine with me. On the readings, so this is light reading. you guys are the beneficiaries of year 3 of doing this class, where year 1 they did a lot more reading than you guys did, and year 2 still even more. But I think that we've winnowed it down to a good amount where you're getting the context and you know enough to have a discussion on these issues of international development and citizen diplomacy. But there's just, please keep in mind, there's so much more to read, but because it's a limited amount of time that you guys are there, and I certainly want you spending the time talking with people and doing things and not feeling stressed out that you need to do these readings, we've reduced the readings to the level where they're at right now. As you see, that the response paper is due about 3 days before our class session. We need to get those in so that we're able to do the class session, so that I can read them and that I can share them with the rest of the group. Any questions on that? No. Okay, moving along. The writing assignments, this is all about the blogs, that next section. And I think you have all the guidance that you need between here and in your manual, and I don't feel as if we need to reiterate it, but if you have any questions about it, please fire away. Okay. So the memo, I'm on page 6, letter B. So this is like hard and fast, that 2-page memo. There's probably nothing that needs to be said that's going to be more than 2 pages. If I was going to make this really hard, I'd make it a 1-page memo. I found that in terms of these writing exercises with this, you frequently have to sit down, you write a bunch of stuff, you look at it, you see that it was all introductory stuff that the person already knows before they even sat down to read your memo. You throw it out, and then you get to like that last sentence or the last few sentences of those introductory paragraphs, and that's actually where you begin your memos. Most important thing for a memo in that regard is knowing who your target audience is, and so you are writing this memo to me. Contrary to your blog posts, which are out there for the whole general world to read and for you to share a message with, you're sending this to the Director of America's Unofficial Ambassadors, and you are reporting back either on your organization and its effectiveness and ability and capacity to incorporate volunteers into their work, or on your original thoughts about being a citizen diplomat or unofficial ambassador, and what are the recommendations that you want for me to take out to our whole organization and to all the people who serve as unofficial ambassadors. So it's like, as opposed to the great wide world out there, it's a tiny, tiny little audience that you're writing to, but I'm going to take what you have to say to heart, and I love getting these memos, and it's actually part of how we assess the different partners that we work with and make sure that we're still, working with partners who we want to be working with, as I get this assessment from the students who do the class about these different organizations or about opportunities for citizen diplomacy. One of the things that I really encourage with the memo writing is that you do a rough draft, you submit the rough draft, and we work on it together. I think it's really hard to get these, especially if you've never done it before, I think it's really hard to get this on the first try. And so I'm happy to read iterations of it and to go through it with you. Questions? No questions today, huh? So I'm just telling you that we're going to have, maybe these aren't great discussion topics in terms of questions about memos and blogs, but we're going to have a lot of talking, and this is all going to be discussion. If you guys make me talk for our hour-long class when you guys are in Morocco and Tajikistan, then it's not going to work, and I'm going to be sad, because that's not going to be fun for anybody, particularly me. Okay, so let's skip ahead to the photo essay then. I think this will be our last thing to talk about. And again, if we could just read this one together, because this is a little bit of a bigger project, and I just want to make sure that we have any discussion we need to have about it from the start. Rafi or Amber, Would one of you guys mind reading it out loud?
I can read it.
Okay.
Interns will complete a final project in the form of a photo essay that is due by July 27th. Explore one of the course's two major themes, impact and development or citizen diplomacy, in your photo essay. A photo essay is a set or series of photographs that are intended to tell a story or evoke a series of emotions in the viewer. Essays should be well organized and reflect an effort to communicate an idea, reflection, or encounter related to your overseas experience. Photo essays can be sequential in nature, intended to be viewed in a particular order, or may consist of non-ordered photographs which may be viewed all at once or in an order chosen by the viewer. A photographic essay can be a powerful tool for educating and engaging the public. While one photo can draw in interest, multiple photos can tell a vivid and in-depth story. A photo essay allows you to present a more complex issue that would otherwise be impossible to portray in a single photo. General guidelines include 10 pictures from your experience. The photo essay should have a title. Pictures may be in color, sepia, or black and white. Submit one Microsoft Word document with approximately 50 to 100 words dedicated to each photo. Begin the document with a 2-page introduction to the essay, 12-point font single-spaced. The introduction should explain your theme and the purpose of the photo essay. You should also refer to outside readings on your topic from the course readings or secondary sources you find on your own. Please use Chicago Manual of Style for footnotes and a bibliography. Number pages, give your title, and read for grammar and style.
Okay, thanks, Amber. That's great, and we don't need to get to that next level of detail on Dropbox or PDF or whatever. Sammy, what are your initial thoughts on this? I know that you've done video photo essays of a sort in terms of how to approach a project like this.
What I found is you should go into it with like not like a research proposal. Like what I've done prior is like I've thought of like themes or like what interests me, like especially as someone who like doesn't have like who isn't there yet. Like what am I interested in? So that like potentially like identifies you with your potential audience. And so like I personally I'll probably like be writing it down while I'm on the plane, but like what are like specific pictures that I know I have goals of taking shots of, and like what am I going to seek out, and I have a feeling that like the essay will kind of form itself like while I'm there. It's like I have no idea what I want to do right now, but it's like I can tell you like, oh, I want to make sure I get like pictures of like various forms of headdress on women, or like I want to make sure that I get pictures of kids, like that sort of thing, and like pictures of like me working with people and like people working with us. Like you should go in. It really helps if you go in with like a shot list. So.
Yeah, those are good thoughts. I like the idea of a shopping list. Rafi, what about you? What are your initial thoughts on this kind of project? And maybe you've even done a photo essay for one of your other classes at TCNJ.
I haven't really done a photo essay, so I'm looking forward to doing this. I think I'm just gonna take pictures of things that like I can relate to and things that I know I can write about and I'm passionate about, and not just take pictures of things because they look beautiful. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go there with a mind of taking pictures that mean good, like that means something to me.
Okay. And Amber, what about you? How do you initially think you're going to approach this?
This part of the experience makes me a little nervous because I'm like notoriously averse to taking photos. It never occurs to me, so I'm gonna have to kind of rewire my brain to think about like finding these moments and capturing them. But I like the idea of going in with like Sammy said, a shopping list of things that I kind of want to look for that may relate to the things that I'm most excited to learn more about while I'm there. So I think approaching it that way will help. But I'm definitely going to need to probably just take like a million pictures and have a lot to pick from because I don't really have the photographic eye.
So, several things. One, great for you to recognize that this is a challenge for you and to embrace it. That's awesome. Two, you don't have to be an amazing photographer to put together a wonderful photo essay, because the photo essay, it's an expression of your, again, we go back to analysis, of your creativity and your analysis of, you know, one of the themes for this course. So you actually don't even have to take the photos yourself if that's not a strong suit of yours, but it's arranging the photos per the theme that you're exploring. So, like, you know, let's say that you take a bunch of pictures and they just don't turn out or they don't grab you, but like you've got, you know, some of your colleagues have pictures like from Amber, will use your specific situation of like teaching at the Azu Center or the kids that you've been working with, is that you can, I mean, you give them a photo credit for it, but that you take it and you use that and you put your creativity into how you arrange it and what you have to say about it. So if you're not, you know, the next Ansel Adams, don't worry that this is about the presentation of the idea using photography and using, you know, the written word as an analysis as that's part of it. Another point that I want to make on this is I am so practical by nature, and for me that trickles down to this course. Doesn't mean that I don't, like, I'm not into dreams and dynamism and the rest, but what I want you to think about, though, is don't think about all these assignments as this one's floating out in left field and it's over there and this one's there. Is that if you have something that you're really interested in with this, you know, in terms of going back to your learning objectives, then use the photo essay to really explore it. Don't create a whole new project to just, because it's written in the syllabus of, you know, I wrote about this over here, but I can't do that again. Yeah, you can't write the same words and put them in for your photo essay, but you can just keep on drilling down further and further into whatever it is that really interests you. Like, you know, you're talking about bringing the experience home and sharing it with people. You know, one of the great, and if you make your photo essay along the lines of the citizen diplomacy piece, you know, one of the great aspects of sharing these experiences with people when you come back is they can't visualize what the people look like, what their day-to-day life is like. And, you know, Sammy, you talked about different headdresses, and, you know, in a previous conversation we talked about different sounds and music that are on tap or available there. Is that if you incorporate those interests into your photo essay and you show pictures of people and you explain who they are and what they do in their day-to-day lives, like, that's citizen diplomacy. That's communicating that back and introducing your worlds to this world that you just discovered. And so going back to that practical thread is there isn't a need to create projects and to create work for the sake of creating work, but use these assignments as a way to further develop and learn about your interests and to write about them and communicate about them in different means. Like that's the idea. With that said, I don't really have more to share with you today, unless you want me to answer questions. The grading scale is there. My expectation is that everyone's going to do well in the course. I am so admiring that you're going to go and do this volunteer service. The service is such a huge part of the course. So the whole point is just you know, put the work in, and we'll do iterations of stuff until, you know, we get it to the point where you're satisfied with it. That to me is really the important thing, and that you come out of the course with just a deeper understanding of the experience that you just had and how it fits into this larger landscape. And you have these things that you've produced that you can use for your own professional development and for sharing the experience in a more effective way. So any questions before we conclude? And we can do questions on the course, or, as always, any questions that you have about things that are coming up in the next few days or weeks. Okay. Thanks, guys. Who's coming to the blogging webinar tonight?
I think I'll be there. Yeah.
Good.
What time is that?
It's at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Kate's
think
great.
I'm signed up. So.
Kate just had a book come out last year. She's young. She has all kinds of experiences overseas. She started this blog, Everyday Ambassador, which I hope that you guys will get published on sometime over the summer. We've had previous volunteers get published there. So I recommend it. I think she's wonderful. She's going to talk about blogging. And before we sign off, do any of you have trepidations about the blogging aspect of this? It's good to hear about the photography aspect, but the blogging?
I'm actually a little nervous for that. I've never been a strong writer. So, yeah, I'm a little nervous. But I guess I'll make it happen.
Good. We got boot camp coming up.
Yeah.
No, that's great. I mean, it's such a huge skill. It's probably blogging, or not blogging, writing, and being able to speak publicly are the most important skills. And probably not like speaking to an audience of 500 people, but being in a room full of your peers and being able to communicate a message. Like those two are the most important professional skills that you can have coming out of a liberal arts education. Like if you're studying engineering or finance, it's something different. But good, we'll work on it together. Okay, guys, then I'm going to let you go, and I appreciate the time, and hopefully I'll see you guys this evening. If not, then I will really look forward to hearing from you when you get to Morocco. I will send you the course readings today, and I will also send you a couple of links to blog posts from last summer that were published in other places from students who took the course.
Thank you.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.